All right, good afternoon and welcome to today's discussion. We're going to be talking about the critical CRM selection steps that financial institutions need to follow for a successful project. This is a topic that's near and dear to our hearts because we see a lot of banking institutions and credit unions that are trying to select CRMs and really are unsure of what that process should look like. And that's where we can help. So we're happy to share this informative discussion with you today. As is normal with most webinars, you will be able to participate in any way that is relevant to you. If you have questions that come up throughout the presentation, you can drop those into the chat and we'll be happy to answer those. So some quick introductions to get us started. My name is Deneen Madura. I'm the marketing director here. Our main presenter today is going to be our founder and CEO, Sam Biardo, and Molly Anderson, our sales director, is going to be our co-pilot. So what exactly are we going to be covering? There's a lot of information that we need to be aware of when it comes to CRM selection. So the first thing we're going to touch on is, why is a strategic process even important in the first place? How should you select your internal buying team? What needs to go into creating the goals for your CRM selection? That's where we touch on those SMART goals. What makes a SMART goal? We'll share some examples of those. Creating user stories. What does that look like? What does that entail? Ranking features, doing ROI analysis. It is possible to do an ROI analysis on your CRM, and Sam's going to explain how that is possible. And then it's really important that you align demos to your needs. You're driving those demos, not the vendor, and that's part of the strategic process. By the time that you get to the demos, you really know what you're looking for and you know what you want your vendors to be showing you. So we'll talk a little bit about that. We'll talk about what you want to look for in a CRM vendor, what you want to look for in a CRM implementation partner, how you can negotiate with a vendor, things you need to be thinking about, questions you should be asking them, and then important integration considerations to wrap it all together. So we've got a lot of very important topics to cover today. I'm going to pass the floor over to Sam to start taking us through some of this information.
Thank you, Deneen. So we want to start out, before you even start looking at products, we want you to do a couple things. First thing is, we want you to identify what you see as your key issues that you need to solve. In other words, is it related to acquiring customers or expanding customers or providing a better customer experience? Those are things that CRM does, but we need to sort of document why you're buying the CRM. Second, what is your biggest concerns in the company? Is it churn? Is it not enough deposits? Is it losing customers to digital banking? Is the fact that your data is all siloed and you can't get a real good picture of what a customer is doing, so you can't predict what the next offer should be. And then you need to learn about CRM before you start getting demos. Otherwise, I like to call it the shiny object syndrome. The people who are doing the demos will show little cool features that unless you already define those in your business goals, you don't need, and you're going to pay for those. So first thing is to go out and just learn, go to websites that have webinars, go to industry analysts like Gartner, Forrester, G2, and read up on CRMs. Attend webinars like this, go to YouTube videos and have recorded demos so that you're not being hounded by salespeople while you figure out what you want and what features you're going to be looking for in the CRM. So we're going to talk about a strategic process, and why is this important? Because what we want to do is we need to align our features in the CRM to our business objectives. We have to make sure that these features solve our needs. We want to make sure that the solution purchased is flexible enough and scalable enough to be a long-term solution. You need to make sure it has the ability to integrate with systems like your core or your LOS. You need to understand or think about at least how this is going to be users going to be adopted and how they're going to be trained. And you want to have a product that meets your security and compliance requirements. So the first thing first is to pick a team to help with the selection. And you need to have all these appropriate skills. You need someone who knows CRM, someone who knows data management, someone who knows business process engineering, and project management. And so if you find one person who knows all that, it's called a unicorn, by the way. But you're going to usually want to make a team that has that skill set in it. And then you want to establish some roles and responsibilities. You want to go out and involve other departments besides one department. Typically, you get someone from sales and marketing, some customer service, IT, and finance, all involved in the decision-making process. You want to develop a regular meeting schedule that will continue not only through the selection process, but also through the implementation process, because you're going to need to set aside time, particularly when you start implementing, to convey the problems that you're defining to the CRM vendor you select. And you want to have input from a broad group of people. But I will say that the buying team is best if it's under 10 people, honestly. So creating smart goals. So the SMART goals are really easy. They're specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. And you can see not SMART goals at the top. I want to use CRM to sell more products, should really be improve sales productivity by 15% within 6 months through CRM training adoption, resulting in higher numbers of qualified leads and closed deals. And I think you're getting the picture here. You want to be very, very specific when you set your goals for your CRM. Otherwise, you can't measure it at all, and you can't tell if you were successful. So, we can see on this slide 3 different examples. I'll do the last one because of time. So make customer service faster with CRM really is reduce the customer service response time by a percentage within a certain period of time. Of implementing by automating routines, inquiries, and optimizing agent workflow. Next thing you have to do is define user stories. We're going to use these to actually organize your demo. So user stories basically are identified. What they do is they talk about what your needs are in a very specific way. So you've already gone through the process of putting your goals together, and you've already gone through the process of identifying your internal needs. And so you could create these are really more what I would call epics, but they're things like streamline loan processing or do a better job of referring customers. Then we're going to expand those descriptions. So we might say that when we get a referral for an auto loan, we want to expand the number of customers' accounts to ensure that they keep the loan with the bank. We automatically want to provide them with best fitting offers and incentives for things like checking and credit cards. So that is a much more detailed version of doing a better job of referring customers. And so what this is really doing is it's describing the desired features and functionality in a much more concrete way. And then how do we do user stories? User stories are really simple. They say who's doing it, when are they doing it, what are they doing, and why are they doing it? And so if you can just sort of keep that in mind, you can write them up any way you want, but there's a formal way of doing that So I would go out and I would interview key people in the organization. I'd define their pain points. I'd identify use cases where the system it can be used in each department. And I would create user stories. So here are some user stories. Who, as a sales manager, what I want to track sales opportunities through the CRM pipeline, assign tasks to team members, and monitor progress in real time, facilitating why, facilitating better sales forecasting and pipeline management. Or as a salesperson, I want the CRM system, that was who, by the way, I want the CRM system to automate routine administrative tasks, that's the what, such as updating contract records and scheduling, follow-up reminders, allowing me to focus on more, this is the why, allowing me to focus on more prospecting and closing deals efficiently. Marketing would have a user story like, as a marketing manager, I want to track effectiveness of marketing campaigns and generating leads and converting them into customers, leveraging CRM analytics and reporting features to optimize marketing strategies. And for customer service, we have one as well. But I think the key point of this is for every user story you have, you can write a test case for it. So user stories become really important for the demo and for the selection, and they become even more important when you're ready to implement. So let's just move on. So now we're going to go and define requirements and rank features. So requirements is what a CRM should be able to do at a high level. That's what we're defining it. So I want a 360 view of the customer. I want tool collaboration. I want lead management, segmentation, contact center, case management. Now, the reason why we're doing it at this really high level is because the 360 view of the customer performed by one CRM vendor may be a different process. So when you're looking at how they do it, you really can't ask them to do it in a very specific way. It really doesn't make sense. It's really, what is the overall goal you're trying to get, which is things like, I need a contact center, I need case management. And every system has a possibly slightly different way of doing case management. So if you get too specific, you could eliminate a CRM vendor because they just have a different way of doing things. So now you'll break down those features into more features, like for example, the 360 view, what will that mean? That means we got account management and contact management. We got intelligent data enrichment. We have customer segmentation. We have interaction, communication history, and we have the ability to search and merge duplicates. So I'm breaking these down into other smaller pieces, and this will come to play again when we come to demo, when we come to selection. And so now I can go and tie in an ROI. I can take every one of those features and say, how much is it saving me? Is it saving me time? And so if it's saving, because the ROI really falls into two categories, tangibles and intangibles. And tangible ROI is really easy to do, and intangible is not. Intangible would be things like, I'm creating a workflow that the salespeople use that would reduce the time that the salespeople have to do data entry, and that would save them 20 minutes a day, and there's 200 sales reps. And so you can calculate the average salary, you can calculate what 20 minutes a day would be, and then you can compare that to the cost of adding that feature. And if that feature only costs, say, $1,000, you probably just saved money on it, right? So that's sort of how we're going to do it. Then there's these intangible ROIs, which are things like this is a much better customer experience. We can't really target and say, what does that mean? But there's got to be some way of quantifying a value to that. So, you could say, well, if I have a better customer experience, we're going to have less churn, and that means we're going to save X dollars. or providing a better customer experience means they'll buy more product, which means we will have increased sales and that'll have value with it. So you're going to try to make your best guess at taking those intangibles and turning them into tangibles. And then once that happens, once you have the ROI on all these things, you can start setting your priorities. And I always tell people that when you create priorities, they're not like high, medium, low. They're more like a ranking. So there's only one number one highest priority. There's only one number two highest priority, and so on. So and this becomes a challenge, by the way. I will say this: most groups have a hard time agreeing on what is the number one challenge for a company, but you got to try to do your best to get them ordered in, at least if not single ranking, at least a lot of different groupings. And because what you're going to want to do is you're going to compare your budget later on to the ROIs you're going to save, so that you're actually picking the most profitable components that you're going to implement. Let me go next slide. So why rank numerically? Helps you focus on selecting only on CRMs that can deliver exactly what you need, and avoids distractions. And it also narrows down the number of CRMs you have to look at. If you could literally take your list of features that you want and need, and you could probably go to most websites for most CRM providers, or you can go to an analyst agency and they'll tell you which CRMs meet those. So let's analyze the ROI. So if you tie each feature to a problem, you can quantify the solving of those problems and focus on the savings that's provided. So it's really as simple as that. And now I'm talking about, I already covered this, sorry. So you want to make intangibles tangible, which is by making reasonable assumptions. And I think we're handing it off to Molly.
Yes, thank you, Sam. So I'm going to talk about how to align your needs to setting up some demos. So at this point, you're in charge. You've gone through the steps that Sam just walked us through. And in your pocket, you have things like your goals, your defined user stories, your ranked features. So now you're going to take that list of items and do some demos, see some products. Because you've done the legwork prior to this, we recommend taking that list of features, those use cases, and having the CRM vendors demo exactly those use cases, so that you're spending the time seeing the products and seeing exactly what you need to see in a product. This avoids, going into a demo and them just showing you everything that doesn't apply to you or apply to your needs. And you can really visualize the way that this CRM product is going to help you in your business. So what to look for when you are narrowing down the list to, your CRM vendors, who's going to be showing you the demo. So there's thousands of CRMs on the market. It can be extremely overwhelming to try and figure out where you should start, who you should be looking at. Like Sam said, you can take that feature list and you can go to analysts like Gartner, G2, and say, these are the features that are extremely important to us. What product should I be looking at? That's one of the first things that we recommend you do. We also think, pick a subset of companies that have a center of excellence, especially around banking and credit union. Do they have a team specifically focused on selling these products to your industry? Do they have industry experts on their team who know, the problems of your industry inside and out, and can help tailor the sales process of their product to your issues and to your industry? Of course, price. You have to make sure that you're staying within the allocated budget that you guys have for this project. Most CRM solutions will have the pricing publicly available. So hopefully you're able to find that on the website and make sure that the products fit within the budget. And of course, compare the product features against your required features. Most CRM solutions will have a checklist of features on their website. Do the things that they offer in the versions that you're looking at match up with the features that you've just done all the work to say, this is what's important to us and this is what we need to implement? Some other things that you should be sure to consider The partner community, do they have a number of implementation partners that can help you throughout the process to make sure that you're rolling out the solution correctly, and to make sure that your users are adopting it? Support plans, ongoing support, making sure that they have a support desk and people that can help within your area. Marketplace is super important, so make sure that one, the CRM that you're looking at has a marketplace available, and two, that it's robust, that they have apps that you can plug and play into the CRM solution to make your day-to-day easier. Make sure that the number of outages are, hopefully zero, if not very low. And going back to that center of excellence, do they have a banking vertical? Do they have a product specific to your industry, specific to your needs? So like I said, going back to that center of excellence and making sure that your industry and the product that they're building is a priority to them. And of course, their fiscal year, this will come into play when you're making a decision and selecting a contract. So what to look for in a CRM partner? We talked about making sure that the CRM has a partner community, someone that can help you implement, do training, integrations, migrate your data. What should you be looking for in that company when you're going through that selection? So almost all CRM vendors will work through a partner network to assist you in things like implementation and integrations. But evaluating a CRM partner is a bit different than evaluating a CRM product or a vendor. We recommend the following things, years of overall experience. How long has the company been around? Do they have a lot of expertise in implementing CRM? And almost as important is, do they have experience with banks and credit unions? Have they implemented companies in the same space as you? Do they have people on their team? The same thing with that center of excellence with the CRM vendor. Does the partner have a center of excellence? Do they have a team that knows your industry, knows the pain points that similar banks and credit unions like yours are going through? And do they have best practices that they can apply to the CRM to make sure that this is going to be a successful implementation? And then, of course, the technical expertise, the people to set it up, to build the integrations, to migrate your data, to build those workflows and things like that. So you've gone through the demo process, you've chosen the vendor that you would like to move forward with, you've chosen the partner you would like to move forward with. What are some tips that you can do to negotiate with the CRM vendor to ensure that you're getting the best deal possible? So the number one thing is timing is everything. We talked a couple slides back about fiscal year being really important. It's good to know when the fiscal year is, or the end of the quarter, the end of the month is for the CRM vendor you have decided to move forward with. You will always get the best contract price possible when you're near these dates, near the end of the fiscal year, near the end of the month, the end of the quarter, etc. And there's a lot of ways to, besides, the timing of signing the actual contract, there's a lot of ways to make sure you get a decreased price, which is adding more years to your contract. Most CRM companies will offer you a 1-year term, a 3-year term, a 5-year term. This is the way for you to guarantee that you're locking in that price. But not only locking in the current price that you're purchasing at, but also if there's any uplift. Once you come to the renewal, what is that price going to look like when you come to your renewal? Make sure if they give you an option, to lock in a good price for that uplift so that you don't have any surprises when it comes to your renewal point. And then get the CRM vendors to compete on price and services. You've already done the work of putting together everything that you need and evaluating multiple vendors. Use those competitive pricing to get the best deal for yourself. And of course, in most industries, but in banking specifically, integrations are super important to making sure that you're going to have high user adoption and that the implementation and rollout is going to be successful. Some things that we see in the industry a lot that we think are super important when it comes to, like Sam mentioned, can the CRM vendor integrate with your core banking solution, LOS systems, e-signing, telephony, customer portal? We see this all the time with banks and credit unions that The employees, sometimes have to open up to 10, 15 screens a day just to do their day-to-day. Creating these integrations and making sure that the products that you're already using at your bank talk to the CRM that you have already selected, making sure that you can seamlessly integrate the data with that tool is going to make your employees' lives a lot easier. It's going to make doing their job a lot easier. And in turn, is going to make them want to use the CRM solution. Making the CRM as sticky as possible is really when we see companies have the highest user adoption, because all of the data is in one place ready for the users to access.
Okay, thank you, Molly. And thanks, Sam. We covered a lot of information and we did it really quickly. So do not worry. I will send out the recording of this and I'll try and break apart some of the topics that we talked about so that you can dive into specific information that you find the most relevant. But if this feels overwhelming, that's understandable. There's a lot that goes into the process, as we saw, really forming those initial stories, talking to all your stakeholders, getting all of your user stories together and analyzing all your ROI. That's a lot of time and a lot of energy. And that's where CRM consultants like us come in to help customers do that. We know how to bring your team through this process. We handle a lot of the legwork for you so that that process can be as streamlined as possible. And if you're unsure of where to start, or the one thing that Sam said at the beginning was trying to define what exactly are your problems and what do you need the CRM to do to solve those problems. Believe it or not, that's not always as clear cut as people might think it is. And so through discussions with your team and coming to understand your business model, we are able to help our clients in the banking and credit union space really form the thought process around what they need out of the CRM. And we help to answer some of those questions that they have about, how to link that with the features that they need, and how to go about the whole process in a way that makes sense for their particular organization. So our contact information is here. If you are thinking about going through a CRM project, but you're not sure where to start, or you have any follow-up questions, we're happy to help you. I'd also like to point out that Molly spoke to the importance of integration in the banking and credit union industry. And we are going to have a webinar diving into that coming up in June on the 6th. And we're going to speak to some of the ways that we've seen our banking and credit union clients integrate, what the outcomes of that have been for them, and how they went about doing that in a way that was most efficient and within their budget and their timeline and goals. So I will also include the registration link for that webinar coming up in the follow-up email to this webinar. So like I said, I know it's very overwhelming. There's a lot of information here. I'm going to break it apart for you. And that way also with that follow-up email, if you want to respond directly to that follow-up email, you're welcome to do that as well. We're happy to have a conversation with you. So I want to thank Molly and Sam for their time today. I want to thank you for your time. I hope this was informative and helpful for you. Like I said, we just powered through this, so take some time to absorb. And we will be sending you all of this information for you to go through with your team very shortly.